All right, welcome to the Good Rookies podcast. My name is Faheem.
And my name is Nelly J, y'all, and we are Good Rookies.
That's right.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Good Tuesday. And guess what? It's episode 64.
64.
Hey, 64 hashtag birthday edition. That's right, y'all. We're recording on both of ours, Faheem and myself, birthday week. So the episode's about to be ton up because our guest is Litaz. Faheem, please introduce who we got.
All right, so it's about that time. Who we have in the house? We have a pro in the house. We have someone who does this for real. And when we get to the For the Culture segment, we'll be able to highlight the many things he gets a part of and what he has going on. So let's welcome Greg Alston to podcast today.
Greg.
Thank you guys for letting me join. This is an honor. First and foremost, happy birthday. Early, belated, all that. Like, happy birthday. Hopefully you guys celebrate more than just with me, but I appreciate it. Like, this makes me feel good. And we got to do it every year now. So.
It's like Greg's like, every birthday week, I need to be here. No problem. We can make it happen. That's a problem. So Greg, you are well versed in all things, politics, sports, everything. And I'm just curious to know, because you are also into like different things. Morpheus, right? Morpheus, the character from The Matrix. Okay. So Kyrie Irving posted a picture of Morpheus on Instagram. And there's so many theories behind this picture. And I know you're a very deep thinker, so I'm curious to know, what do you think that image of Morpheus in his glasses, the leather jacket, I think from Matrix 1, has to be. What's your thoughts on that image? And why do you think he would post that? Just out of curiosity.
I feel like he thinks that he is the Oracle, mainly like he's the odd man out, similar to like, the whole idea of red pill, blue pill. And for him, just posting it, it's like, okay, I understand what his concept was. I'm trying to figure out if he means it though, because if you call yourself the Oracle, or if you call yourself like a glimpse of Morpheus and you've never seen any of the Matrix films, you're just posting it just to post it. Now, if he has the ideals of Morpheus and everything that the Matrix movies entail, he's already seen what's to come. So everything, I guess, that's going on with the coronavirus and COVID-19 and his vaccination status, he's saying, I know more than you guys do. And that's where I personally think he's thinking about when it comes to the whole Morpheus ideal.
Okay.
That's a good explanation. Wow. Faheem, your thoughts on this Morpheus image? Do you agree with Greg, or what's up?
I'll ride with what Greg's saying. I honestly didn't like. So what I do know, this is Kyrie Irving and how the relationship between Kyrie and the media. We've seen with Dame Dollar before, Dame Lillard, where they went to Twitter and he engaged with the fans on social media. So it's normal right now in today's climate to have athletes and fans through social media engage. So what Greg says, the breakdown, it sticks. For me, I don't have one. I'm just like seeing it as, this is Kyrie. He could be getting a raise, just like trying to rise people. We haven't spoken about him in the media for a while. Maybe he wants to just be relevant to his cause. But it's funny though, Kyrie can do anything. And he's so mysterious right now, not playing, that we'll feed off of anything he gives us. So I
think that too. I just feel like with Kyrie, it could be what I said and exactly what you said. And I feel like it's leaning towards that. Like, he hasn't had the attention for a while, and Brooklyn has kind of like moved past the scenario of what's going on with Kyrie. And he's like, but what about me though? What can I do to actually bring some light to the fact that, hey, it seems like you're moving a little bit past my cause. Let me remind you, and let me do it in the most obscure way possible, which is what? Morpheus. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I also thought of that theory. I also thought it was Kyrie saying that he is now a part of the Matrix. He's a part of the Matrix, and he probably does know Morpheus, and the Matrix is real, and that there are people like, I'm sorry. No, but for real though, I took it as Kyrie had made a decision. He's made a decision. as to what he wants to do. Because remember, Morpheus made a decision. At that time, he decided something, and he was a part of that movement. So I took it as Kyrie's made a decision, a firm one. We don't know which one it is yet, but the decision that he's made is something that's kind of rebellious, right? And what is the rebellious decision? Is it being vaccinated or not? Because depending on what lens you're looking at, either or could be called a rebel. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I guess it's more question than answers, and I'm just waiting to see what the hell is going to happen next. But thanks for appeasing me, Greg, and for diving down into the lion's den of Kyrie's brain. None of us know how he thinks, but I'm sure we'll get an answer soon. Because I really think he's going to get vaccinated. I know people think it's not going to happen, but I think he is going to get vaccinated because if it's not your anti-vax, it's just a mandate, that's going to go away. But I know in New York, a lot of firefighters lost their jobs or leave without pay. A lot of nurses leave without pay. So let's just see what's going to happen. I think if this continues to go down this ugly road, the mandates are going to have to be lifted somewhat, because if you don't got enough nurses, enough firemen, enough cops, because right now the mandates aren't for cops yet, which is weird. It's like you've mandated everyone but the police. Interesting, right? So I didn't think that things are going to happen in New York that he probably has foreseen or knows, and we're all just waiting for it to kind of catch up to what he knows. So again, all speculation, all alleges everything here.
Allegedly.
Please. All right, y'all. So let's get into some hot topic. Go ahead, Faheem.
All right, so let's start with the J&J situation, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum situation in Boston. Kind of shaky start, but Marcus Smart has come out as the leader of the team. We could say he's the veteran of that squad. And he just said that, quote, they don't want to pass the ball, end quote. That's a little bit of a player insight in regards to his situation and what he sees happening. What's your thoughts on this?
With Jaylen, like, as a Celtics fan, I would love to pass on this because I can't put my finger on him right now. It's just one of those things where it's like he said it and we don't know if he means it yet because he doesn't normally speak out. So I'm hoping he comes out with like more of an explanation, because when he does speak, it's like thought out and it actually has some context to it. But this here it rubs me the wrong way. It feels like he's saying things in retaliation. So I just rather just wait it out and see what comes from that situation.
Yes, that's a good take, because I did watch the full press conference today of what he said, right? And the context was essentially, as we all know, and you're Celtics fans, the Celtics have lost a lot of close games, right? In the fourth quarter, they've kind of messed up. They were up against the Bulls by how many? Like, I think 20, 15 points, something like that. And somehow the Bulls came back. I think they had a close one with the Knicks. The Raptors, we beat them. Again, we were down. We came back and won that game. So I think they're 2-5. And when you're 2-5, you're losing, right? Like you said. So when you're losing, you're not going to be the happiest camper. I don't blame him for that. But what he said, though, was that he said it like this, right? He's like, every team is scouting and preparing for JT and JB, period. So he's like, in those tough decisions, he's like, they have to learn to create plays for everybody else. And then he said, we all know they're going to be doubling you. So he's like, why would you try to force the shot when you can try to pass out to an open man? And then before that, he's like, I'm just in a corner chilling. I'm in a corner, like pretty much open chilling, while they're trying to do all these like Houdini acts in the middle of the paint to be on the NBA.com or NBA's social media. And it's true. Like, it's very flashy, but you're not winning games. So I think he's saying, like, you know what? I believe in them. They're still young. They're trying to, they have a lot to learn. And he's like, I know for a fact they're going to have to learn how to do that. So he wasn't just trying to, like, hit on them. He's just saying that a part of their game has to be adjusted and adapted to the fact that everyone's scouting for you. So you have to learn to pass the ball. So after that explanation, what's your thoughts on how he kind of phrased it? Because it wasn't just like that. He kind of made it around just the storyline behind why we've been losing these games.
Well, to me, it's not about like passing the ball, because they could pass the ball to him, but he makes just as many mistakes. I mean, the playoffs last year being, a catalyst in itself. So it's like, do they trust you to make that shot? Do they trust you? And do the coaches as well? Because Smart would have the ball if they trusted him in it. and he's proven himself to not want to take that shot when it matters the most. So it's not their fault. They're the stars of the team. And when it comes down to that final clock, who you want the ball in the hands of? Them, right? And even with Brown, with JB, it's like, all right, I understand, like, he's like the number 2. And the reason why he's the number 2 is because Smart didn't step up when it mattered for him to be the number 2 on that team. And he's had 3 opportunities. Like, Hayward's gone now. Homeboy that went to New York, he's gone now. Smart's had multiple, Kemba, he's had multiple opportunities to be that number 2 guy. But the issue with him is he takes careless shots. And when he does have the ball in his hands, he 9 times out of 10 doesn't know what to do with it other than dribble the clock out and then shoot at the last second. And when it comes to Tatum and Brown, the reason why they don't want to pass the ball is because they've seen that in the bubble. It was Smart who cost them that series. They remember that
against Miami.
So, so I'm trying to figure out where Smart is kind of getting the idea. I understand, like, he's the vet of the team.
Yeah.
But it's not going to boost your stock in the locker room, because now you're making, like, Kemba and Hayward, who they were like whispers of, like, someone that they didn't get along with in the locker room. And now it's starting to look like, so was it you the entire time? Yeah. So, I just hope Smart knows that, like, you've been with these guys long enough to know the reason why they don't want to pass the balls, because they have a better opportunity and a better chance of actually taking the shot and making the shot. Yeah, they might dribble around and things like that, but if you're not open, and when you are open, there's a high chance that you stand on the corner, you're going to miss it. It's on you, bro.
So I guess I can summarize Boston's situation. Say, I like the J&J combo. Young, they have all the tools of something to build for. So 100%, I'm all in on keeping them together. I know there's been a lot of talk of, they've been struggling, so should they split them up, or, that kind of. But with Marcus Smart, he is the veteran on that team. He's an elder statesman on that team, longest serving Celtic on that team. So I think he has earned the right to step up, even though he's not the best player on the team. But you don't always have to be the best player to be a leader. And I think he has earned that. But when I think of Boston's problems is, if they're winning, we're not hearing this. We're only hearing this due to the fact that they're struggling. And, them struggling, it's early in the season. So I think people are a little overreacting. But we have to keep in mind that Jason Tatum, he's still young. Jaylen Brown is still young, and they're being led by a rookie coach in Ime Udoka. That's just the facts.
Nigeria, big up Nigeria.
Yeah, and big. Yeah, no.
I just have to say that.
It's not a shot at Udoka, but he is a rookie coach, and when you have leads and you're blowing leads, yeah, you can blame the players, but in normal circumstances, people do look to the coach and say, the coach, what did you do? And I feel like Udoka is kind of, I don't know the reason why, maybe because he's new, they don't want to ruffle feathers, but I'd have to say Udoka has to be in this equation somewhere of a problem if they're going to overreact. But I would say don't overreact. It's a long season. I think they'll figure it out.
You think that the reason why he went with the conversation to both of the Jays is because he doesn't want to go to the coach and seem like he's going above their heads?
Right. Could be. Yeah, very much.
It's funny because the question was kind of phrased like, in the fourth, you guys have been, losing the leads and not making right decisions. So I think he was just trying to figure out, like they were saying, what plays or what would you do to change, right? So it was mostly geared to like the plays on the court. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Smart want to bring up, because I think the players like their coach. I think they enjoy their coach. It's way better than Brad Stevens. So I don't think it's the coaching issue. But yeah, I think when it comes to stuff like this, I do think, like, and no offense, but I'm gonna big up Raptors because Nick Nurse outcoached him. He's outcoaching people. Like, the Raptors team doesn't have all the best talent, but they have one of the best coaches in the league. And you can tell in close games, like, he makes adjustments that coaches can't adjust to, right? And that's really killing the Boston Celtics because this coach is learning his players and learning his team. So it could be either or.
Right.
I agree. But it's like, it hasn't even been 3 weeks yet. Like, can we just, like, figure things out as we go instead of just expecting them immediately? And this isn't just the
Facts.
Celtics. This is the league. And I really wish people would stop using recency bias as a reason for like the behavior of the teammates and the teams and the coaches. Like we have to figure things out. We're not even at the Christmas and Thanksgiving breaks yet. Like let's get there first. And then at that point, we can start to see chemistry build. We've seen it with other teams. It's going to happen in Boston. And I'm saying that because my wife told me to, and she's from Boston. So
No, but honestly, I did have Boston as a playoff team, not playoff or play in. So I don't think Boston's in a terrible position. I just think that, like you said, things got to figure out. And, you know, we're going to see the real teams, you know, fizzle above the crop around like end of November, right? And then we'll have definitely revisit it. But let's see. And Marcus Smart, you know, he thought he was the king of the North. We showed him that he's not. So hopefully he has humbled himself this year, and let's see what happens. But I hope Marcus Smart comments don't cause discord in the locker room. But he didn't really say it like a shot. He was more like, you know, they're young, they're gonna learn more of it, and as the season goes on, we're gonna get better. So he wasn't like mean about it. He was more like, you know, we're a team and we're gonna figure it out. But the media is pushing that. That's why I'm saying, like, what we saw on Instagram isn't really how he portrayed it. But that's how social media can really blow up a situation that was nothing to something massive. So
ESPN is in Massachusetts, and the Boston Celtics are like a home team to ESPN because they're in the same state. And I do think that Boston, I wouldn't say they're in the spotlight, but they kind of highlight what's happening in Boston more because of the fact that there is that kind of regional love that I think ESPN does provide. I do think, though, that Celtics have a good problem on their hands. They have two young future, I was going to say future All-Stars, but two current All-Stars who are young on their hands, who don't seem to have head problems. When I think of Jaylen Brown, I don't think of someone who doesn't seem like he'd be getting along with others in the locker room. Same thing with Jason Tatum. I don't know them personally, but from the vibe I get from them, they seem very coachable. So two young coachable stars, they have a good problem on their hands. And like say, come the All-Star break, I think this will all be behind them.
Totally agree there. Like I just really hope that people just don't take everything too soon, including in the opinions and things, especially with Boston, because there's a little bit of bias when it comes to Boston sports in Massachusetts. So at least we got it the way we got it. It could have been worse. It could have come from any other source and it would have been escalated to a position that it didn't need to be. And then that's what causes locker room like chemistry to break down and a lot of turmoil and drama for no unnecessary reason. So I'm just glad it happened how it happened.
Right. Agreed.
Right.
And question for you, your thoughts on Boston, where they're going to end up before we wrap up this segment into the playoff spot?
6th. I have them at 6th seed.
6th seed. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely check it out, y'all. He said 6th seed. So yes, put him on notice. Pick. Yeah, it's a good pick. I can't go. Can't go wrong with 6. 6. All right.
All right. So Nelly J, let's go to For the Culture.
For the culture, we like to highlight individuals for the culture. And today we get to highlight Mr. Greg Alston.
That's right. Let's do it.
So first of all, Greg, you are like a creator. You do so much things for the culture. And so I just want to talk about all the things that you do, but out of curiosity, I feel like every creator has that origin story, like, you know, the comic books, like Marvel. What's your origin story? What made you want to become a creator when it comes to podcasting and everything else you do?
Honestly, the people that I listen to, other podcasters, even like with YouTube, like certain YouTube avenues that I've seen and people that are on YouTube, there weren't enough people that represented us. So when I listen on podcasts like Rod and Karen from The Black Guy Who Tips, you know, I listen to, you know, like 3 guys on. There's so many shows that I listen to like week in and week out. And I'm like, oh, like I have a voice too. Like, let me just speak on the things I want to speak on. And they're very like candid. It feels like podcast is supposed to be a time capsule for a lot of us. Like I want to go back in 5 years and say, that's what I said. And this is what I've grown to know and grown to learn as a result of that. So that's why I started podcasting, outside of the fact that I listen to roughly like 32 hours at 2 times X. with
Wow.
podcasting. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
listen to
so
a lot of
cool.
podcasts.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
So you call yourself a lifestyle and tech content creator. Can you
Yes.
break down for the folks who aren't really in the industry what that means to you, a tech content creator?
Yes. So I started as a lifestyle and tech writer for geardiary.com. And I stopped writing for them because I realized like there was no real monetary value for me there. And during the pandemic, I realized like I could actually make money doing the same things, but I could do it for myself. And
Mhm.
YouTube, a lot of people started to, gravitate to that because there's a way to make money there. And I wanted to take the podcast over and I said, you know what? I enjoy tech. My first gadget that I vividly remember just like using and abusing was the Talk Boy from Home Alone 2. And that made me a techie. So ever since then, I've just been on tech, headphones, gear, even like my podcast equipment. The reason why is because it's just nice to have new things. And that's why I started the YouTube channel. But instead of starting it and just talking about it, I wanted to review it because a lot of the things you see on YouTube where people get a product, they review a product, it's so like disingenuous because they got it for free. And I want to say, you know what? I would put my money here and I would purchase this because, and have it be honest instead of, hey, I got something new this week. You go buy it, even though I got it for free. And it's actually taken the YouTube channel to like new heights for me, mainly because I have people who say, Greg, I bought that same thing and I spent $200 and I just wanted somebody on YouTube to actually just be honest and say, it's crap. And I said, well, I felt good about that because sometimes I look on YouTube just like any other person would say, oh, well, how can I cook this recipe? Or how can, this product that I need, what does it actually do? But it's always, no disrespect to them. It's like a white content creator who doesn't know that, not everybody has like, legacy money to just purchase everything that they want at their free will. So for me, I jumped in and I was like, okay, let me start reviewing the things I have around the house, the air steamers, air fryers, and, just tech that I had laying around. Next thing you know, I started to get offers to review things from the tech companies I wrote for. And the rest has been history. I have like a queue of maybe like 15 videos that are happening between now and the end of the year. So sky's the limit.
All
Awesome. So
right.
folks, please check out YouTube is called A Cool Creative. And like that is dope. I want to jump into your podcast. Before I do, any questions for him on what he just said? I don't
Well,
want you
since
to
we're on tech, let me ask you.
yeah.
So technology has, in regards to sports, it's always enhanced the experience for the viewer, right? I could think of like sports that I really follow, like for instance, so I follow boxing. They have like CompuBox, like displayed on there. In tennis, if the ball is going in and out, they can zoom in to the nearest micro frame to see if that ball is in or out. Think of baseball, the strike zone. Like for basketball, is there anything that you think that basketball could actually do to maybe enhance the experience for the viewer?
Yeah, for the viewer, I would hope that they first and foremost change the camera angles, similar to what the NFL has tried in the playoffs, where instead of, I think they have that 5K camera, that makes the experience so much better for the viewer. Because when you're watching at 1080p and 4K, when you have that 5K camera and the angles that it zooms in at and the way that the players look, it gives you a completely different perspective. And when it comes to actual like artificial intelligence, when like AR, Steve Nash, I think 3 or 4 years ago, he joined forces with Apple in order to create an app platform that allowed you to watch people actually live play basketball in the manner that it was supposed to be viewed. Now, I think they dismantled that like 2 years ago because the project, I think it was like 150 million bucks from Apple, and they just disbanded it. But there's always new technology coming out. My best advice would probably be to go to the CES. CES is the Consumer Electronics Show, and there's a whole section of sports technology that I can't speak on because it's under embargo, but I will give you more information when I get it in January.
All right.
Oh, look at that, y'all. For January, Greg's going to drop some updates. So that is dope. All right. I want to jump into part 2 because you are a podcaster. So we are like 63. You're at 377. So I just want to give you your flowers. Okay.
Thank you.
Your flower because you are a podcast guru. So y'all, his podcast is called Young, Black, and Bothered. It is dope. Please go to the website. We'll have the links to it. Download and subscribe. We love supporting Black creatives. So the podcast has, so what I saw before we go and get into it, you have that podcast with it's yourself, Chris, CJ, and Quentin, and EP. And they also have a second podcast, I think, Good, Bad, and Unavailable. And that's with you, Darren, Eric, and Quentin. So first of all, the Young Black and Bother podcast, love the name. How did you come up with the name, and what's the meaning behind that?
Well, we started the podcast episode 1 on my wedding day, and we couldn't think of a name. And basically, we were all getting dressed, and my friend pulled my phone out and grabbed a microphone. He's like, we're going to start a podcast now. And I was like, why don't we just do it? He's like, what's the name? I was like, well, still kind of young, right? Because I felt old just in like my suit for the wedding. It's like, we're Black. And then he's like, how are you feeling right now? I was like, I'm a little bit bothered because I'm about to kind of sign my life away forever for, marriage, right? So we came up with Young, Black, and Bothered. And then he says to me drunkenly, he's like, that means baby backwards. That means you're going to have a kid soon. I was like, just give me 2 or 3 years. So we settled with Young, Black, and Bothered as an example. We had other names, they just didn't work. Now that we're a little bit older and mature, it's like, do we still want to stick with the name? But just I don't know if you guys have seen The Distinguished Gentleman, where it's Jefferson, the name, that's how we just wanted to keep it. We wanted to keep it Young, Black, and Bothered, but now it's more so a network. So it's still the name, but there are multiple shows on there. So we have Young, Black, and Bothered, which is the main show. We have Good, Bad, and Unavailable, which is kind of the guys, shooting the shit, having fun, just being a guy. Then we have the women that have their own show, Young, Black, and Beautiful. So that's Chris and Iris. So I'm very hands off on that, but I feel like with podcasting, at least 85% of the people who listen to Black podcasts are Black women. So I wanted to enrich myself with knowledge from women instead of just making it the bro show. We have a show for that, but we focus on the main 3 shows. And I also have another show with Shan, aka She Gets It Pod, on all social medias. We do the show called Loudmouth Stereo. So similar to how we would do it on Zoom, we do it on stereo. So it's an audio platform that gives you an emoji and you can talk directly on your phone, similar to Clubhouse, but you can have voicemails and messages and things like that. We take those audio messages and we put them in our show, and the rest is history. So we had 202 episodes before I had my baby in July of 2022. And we've had 170 episodes since then.
Hold up. You said July 2022 or July 2020?
July 2020.
Okay, I'm 2020. Dude, that's in the future. Are you in the Matrix? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
It's fun to be a podcaster, but it's hard. So, when I saw 63, I was like, okay, they're not flakes. They know for a fact what they're doing, because the hardest thing as a podcaster is to just know that you have to do it again next week. And consistency is the biggest thing that ruins all new podcasts. Everybody thinks, oh, I can just put a microphone. I get a Blue Yeti mic. I'll just put it in front of me, be on the computer with my homies, have a drink, and then we can just talk. That's not how it works. People fall off. People are, kind of flaky when it comes to it. But when it comes to podcasting, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a docket. So every week we have our notes app where, here's the docket. This is what we're doing. If you can't make the show, then, we just will not have the show that week. But we always have other shows. So we record Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. So there's always a show for someone. They're right now, as you and I are talking, we are doing the Insecure recap. So they're doing that show, and that will post on Friday. And the reason for that is I wanted to have a show for everybody to go, regardless of a TV show, a movie, sports, entertainment. And that's how you and I met when it came to Clubhouse. We shared the same ideals, and I was like, let me listen to the podcast. So I listened to 63. I was like, can't wait for the night. Cannot wait. I was like, so, outside of having 370 episodes, I just wanted to congratulate you guys, because getting to episode 3 is hard enough. So the fact that you did that 60 times over, thank you. So thank you for being consistent as podcasters.
No, thank you. Like podcasts like yourselves is what kind of keeps us also, because it is a lot of work and it is a commitment. But like you said, it's your passion. It's like we're on here, we're all talking. We all could be doing something else, but we love to just conversate, listen, learn, and grow. And we're based in Toronto, you're based in DC, but it looks that like we can just podcast with anyone across around the world. So the beautiful thing of technology, of creators, we just kind of click. And that's why I was like, yeah, Greg will be an awesome guest because I've heard you in Clubhouse, and I'm like, yeah, this man is a podcaster. People put podcaster on their bio at Clubhouse, but they got like 3 podcasts. You're like, 3 episodes. Okay, you
Right.
podcast, your podcast, not podcast, right? So now, man, congrats to you guys on your whole entire team. Big up, y'all. We're gonna have all their links to all their shows in our bios and our caption because we want to support all black creators. And so I'm hoping that people in Toronto can be like, hey, this guy Greg is kind of cool. Let me look him up because this
Right.
podcast is in Canada too. So that's pretty dope.
So Greg, I like the fact that you clearly have a vision. It's a great story, Genesis story in regards to starting it on your wedding day. There's some questions about that, like one, how would your wife react about it? We can go down a rabbit hole of down that lane, but
Well, I can make that really quick. Basically, as we were getting dressed, it ended up being a 30 to 40-minute thing because you have to get dressed. Everybody's doing a thing, while she's getting dressed, we're getting dressed. So we just pressed record and we just talked. So they were asking me questions. And I will admit, like episode 1 through 20 is pretty like iffy. There's some things that I disagree with now. There were some things that were said. It's like, why did we say it? But that was a part of the growth as podcasters. Tell people what you're going to put out. Like that's you. That's your personality. You're able to grow from it, but leave that there because that's your time capsule. And, now that I'm a father, I want her to be able to, see that in 10 years or hear that in 10 years. Like that's my dad's voice. So I can hear that. Even though like the wedding day, like, how did you do it? Like drunkenly, first and foremost. We definitely did it drunkenly. So, no apologies there, but it was pretty fun.
So also, you can multitask, obviously. You respect time because it's true. If you have some downtime, why not do a podcast? On your wedding day, for you to realize, be in the state of mind to say, hey, you know what? We have 40 minutes down. Let me record is on some next level podcasting. So I salute you for that. Also, I just want to just kind of, salute the fact that you've gone so many episodes and, you've gone from the same theme, which is showing a visionary in regards to the podcast and creating 3 different podcasts under the same name thread. I think it's pretty impressive of the brand and the network that you have there. So I just can't wait till I can't imagine 300 episodes. Like
I can't fathom it.
I really salute.
It definitely goes. Thank you, but it goes fast. Trust me. You guys have 100 coming. So I'm expecting tickets to the live show because it's going to happen.
Ooh, live show. Oh. Yo, that would be a fun time. But no, Greg, honestly, thank you so much. You're for the culture. Absolutely. Lifestyle, tech, content creator, all of it. Visionary, founder. I'm gonna add you some more titles. Okay. I'm gonna add some more titles for you. But no, real talk. Congrats on all your success. I mean, wish you many, 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 many years to come. So that's it, Faheem. Let's go to our last segment.
All right. So let's go to That's Absurd.
That's absurd. Faheem, bro. What was absurd this week? What was absurd?
So I do want to say, PETA, I want no smoke with you. Okay. I want no smoke with PETA. But in saying that, I just wanted to make people aware of their plight that they have, which says, so with the World Series coming out, PETA has asked the baseball world to remove the word bullpen from their vocabulary. And they've actually given a suggestion that they'd rather it be called the arm barn. Absurd.
I don't even know where to start. Okay, right. This is my thing. PETA, you can go after people who are, killing animals because I'm an animal lover. Like I love animals. So people wearing animal fur, boots, all that stuff, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Because killing animals for their pieces of their body, absolutely that's cruel. Animal rights, dog fighting, absolutely. Anything that's causing harm to animals, absolutely. But animals don't understand baseball, nor do they understand English or understand the social impact of calling something a bullpen. I think if they called the World Series the Jadel pen, I'd be cool with that. My name is or my last name, I'd be cool with that, yo, because I'm getting recognition. So I don't understand how this has now become an animal rights issue. I don't understand it. So that's why I'm calling it absurd. I love y'all, PETA, but this one, nah, sa. Go ahead, Greg.
I was just going to say, with respects to them, they love to invent new problems. And this is a problem that it doesn't need to happen. But I'm staying out their way because I want to be on their good side forever. Now, I wonder if...
We love you, PETA.
So this is a quote by an executive vice president who has said, quote, words matter, and baseball bullpens devalue talented players and mock the misery of sensitive animals, end quote. So I guess that's why they're saying that they want to replace it with the word arm barn, because they say that the baseball world should substitute the word bullpen because it refers to an area where bulls are kept for slaughter. So let's see this on a different route here. So pitchers warm up in what we call is actually, just for PETA, I'll entertain them. They call it the arm barn. Okay, so that's where they are, right? I'm just not understanding if that's a place where they warm up, how that relates to an animal being slaughtered.
And also, that's crazy because the meaning of bullpen means an enclosure for bulls. It doesn't mean a place where bulls die. Like, again, people making up, as Gregory says, making up and creating something that's not even there. Bullpens are a pen of bulls. They go in a pen so that they don't roam around freely. So it's a bullpen. It's a pen of bulls. Again, is that a pen of where they get shot? Like, imagine if it's if it meant where bulls go to die. That's different. It just means an enclosure of bulls, y'all. Again, y'all, these people are just creating problems. If they use a dictionary and actually understood what bullpen meant, it means that that's where these bulls chill, where they hang out. So I don't understand. Again, PETA, I want no smoke. I'm just saying this is absurd for me. I'm sorry. What's
absurd is you want to call it the bullpen, but they still use leather gloves. So,
facts, yo, very true. That is so true, and I never thought of that. That's what 300 episodes will get you, Nelly J. That's what 300 episodes will get you. That kind of knowledge right there.
But I mean, you know what? I was gonna go there, but I was like, do I really want to drop that? But thank you, Greg, for doing it for me. Because I was I'm sorry. No, it's good. But I mean, what other things are leather in sports? Let's go there. But again, PETA, we want no smoke. All we're trying to say is that this name is not going to affect the social economic status of bulls. And it's not going to promote bulls being killed. It is just a name. However, if people think that name is demeaning psychologically, that's the players to answer, not me. Right. I don't play baseball, so that's their decision. But PETA should be, again, like, I think the whole thing about Kyrie wanted to be, relevant. Yep. I'm just saying, PETA, this seems like you want to just say something just to be out there in the media. Like, what can we say? We've been kind of quiet the last. Like, what can we say today? So
what they should actually, and I mean this honestly, maybe they should focus their energy toward, and I've seen it on television before, there is a bull riding league, believe it or not. In 2021, there is, and it's televised, a bull riding league where they ride bulls. If they're I'm not hearing that kind of smoke for them to picket or say, well, why are we using bulls in that way? And also, before they come out, they are in what would be called, I guess, a bullpen, except they're not being slaughtered, but they're being held in there. And then as soon as they open the cage, then you have the person who's on them being kind of bucked off and jumping up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where I think PETA's really got to focus, and how humane they think it is for that animal to be caged up and used for the enjoyment of humans. Maybe that's where they should actually focus. Like I said, PETA, I want no smoke with you.
No smoke.
I have to say this. If PETA wanted to create less problems for themselves, they could have just said, just call it the pen, because the next problem is going to be called the arm barn. Nothing about that makes any logical sense. So just call it the pen. But then are we being derogatory to the penitentiary?
Man, there we go. 300 episodes, y'all. 300. 300. Real talk.
All right, Nelly J, let's put this episode in the books.
All right, y'all. That was episode 64. Hey.
64.
So, Greg, as you know, we love to give our guests a chance to do a special shout out. So the floor is yours.
Yes, I want to shout out my wife, first and foremost. Thank you for loving me. My mama, thank you for loving me so I could love her. Thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of your show. Obviously, everything will be in the show notes, but I want to say thank you to all of the Black podcasters who are consistent. You matter more than you know. So thank you guys. But first and foremost, thank you again for allowing me to be on the show.
No, man. Thank you for taking the time to rock with us and have conversate. You're a busy man. So we're very honored.
Clearly.
My second shout out actually is to a trailblazer. I'm going to call out Kelsey Collier. If you don't know who she is, you're going to know who she is today. My girl, she's the first Black woman to coach an NCAA hockey team, which happened this past Saturday coming up for the Arcadia University women's team. Okay.
Wow.
She's also, just so you know, FYI, the first Black woman selected number 1 in the National Women's Hockey League draft in 2016. So this woman is trailblazing women of color in hockey, and I'm loving it. So big up to you, Kelsey Collier. I'm loving it, my dear. So that's all I want to say. Faheem.
Nice. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, actually, Greg. It's been a pleasure. We definitely got to support everything you got going on, and the vision you have of just doing this network. See nothing but great things with it, because hard work will get you places, and clearly you're somebody who's working hard, and you know what you want, and you understand how to get there. So much respect to you.
Awesome. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's episode 64. So if you had a good time, if you enjoyed yourself, please click that like, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Faheem.
That's right. You know where we're at. Wherever you're looking for us, we're on all platforms, wherever you need us. All right. That's Good Rookies Podcast, episode 64.
Ooh.
And we out.
Peace.